Before we can talk about why externalities and non-private goods can result in market failure, we need to do a little preliminary work on just figuring out what these terms are all about. So, turning first to externalities. The definition of an externality, well, there's different ways in which you could define it, but here's one. An externality is the effect of market activity on people who are external to the market, where the effect, that is, the costs or benefits on bystanders, the people who are external to the market, is not accounted for by the market participants themselves. Now, for that reason, we say that the effect on society as a whole, which is composed of both the market participants and the bystanders, is not identical to the effect just on the private buyers and sellers themselves. Here's some examples of externality categories. We can talk about externalities which are due to production, and we can talk about externalities which are due to the consumption of a good. And these externalities can either be harmful to others, we'd call them negative externalities, or they can be helpful or beneficial to others in some way, in which case we'd call them positive externalities. So, a negative externality of production would be, for example, pollution. So, pollution is a side effect of the production of many goods and services, almost all goods and services, and that pollution can have harmful effects on bystanders. A positive externality of production could be innovation. So in the process of producing a good, it might be the case that particular firms come up with some kind of innovation. They make some kind of discovery about a more effective way of producing a product, a technological change. Now, it might be the case that technological change is then disseminated to others or discovered by others in the market, other firms in the marketplace, and that's beneficial to those other firms because it will enable them to decrease their costs as well. What about consumption? Well, we can talk about the negative externality of consumption. So this is where there's a harmful effect on others due to the consumption of a product. So, for example, if you go on a picnic somewhere and you consume lots of goodies and then you just leave rubbish lying all over the place, then we would say that this littering, which is due to the consumption of goods and services, is harmful to others. Harmful here doesn't mean necessarily physically harmful. It can just be psychologically harmful. That is, it makes people feel less happy than they otherwise would have been. And then we've got positive externalities of consumption. So, for example, a classic example is education. That is, when people consume education, it results in benefits to bystanders who are not actually consumers of education themselves. So people who are better educated tend to be less likely to engage in crime, and, well, at least they're less likely to engage in acts of physical crime, such as property crime. But overall, we might say that it makes for a better society for everyone if people are better educated. So we could say there's positive externalities to bystanders due to some people consuming education. Why are these inefficient? That is, why do they result in market failure? Here, by inefficient, we mean allocative inefficiency. And if you remember, allocative inefficiency allocative efficiency was defined by the following criterion. Let me just see if I can get this pen to work. Right, so by the criterion of the equilibrium price equals the marginal social benefits equals marginal social costs. That is the condition for allocative efficiency. Now, if that is violated, then we say the market is failing. So let's get rid of that and on with the show. So in the case of a negative externality of production, since not all of the costs are being taken account of by the producers of the product, the price at which the product is sold does not reflect all of the costs. It doesn't reflect the external costs. Therefore, the price will be less than the marginal social costs. And as a result, there will be overproduction. There will be over-allocation of resources to the production of this product, whatever that product happens to be. In the case of positive externalities of production, it would mean that not all of the benefits, not all of the reduced costs associated with the production of the product are taken account of in the marketplace. And so the price of the product will be greater than the marginal social costs. The price will not reflect the true marginal social costs, which would be lower due to the external benefits. And so we would say there would be, in a free market, there would be underproduction of this product, and there would be under-allocation of resources to the production of this product. In the case of negative externalities of consumption, we say that the harmful effects on bystanders due to the consumption of the product, due to demand for the product, is not reflected in the price. So the price will be less than the marginal social, will be greater than the marginal social benefits that accrue to society. As a result, there'll be the overproduction of this product, overconsumption of the product, and overallocation of resources to this market. And lucky last, where we have a positive externality of consumption, it means there are certain benefits that accrue to bystanders that are, again, not taken account of by the market price. The market price will be less than the marginal social benefits. And because the market is not taking account of all of those benefits, there will tend to be underproduction and underconsumption of that product, and therefore an underallocation of resources to that market. We'll see how these work, or how these express themselves in graphs in a later video. Coming now to non-private goods. We know that the production and or the consumption of private goods may cause externalities. We just talked about that very briefly. Private goods are characterized by two properties. One is excludability. That is, when you purchase or own a private good, you can exclude others from enjoying the benefits of that good when you consume it. So in the case of a can of Coca-Cola, for example, you buy the can of Coca-Cola, you own the can of Coca-Cola, you drink the can of Coca-Cola, well, you drink the contents of you don't drink the can, you drink the contents of the can of Coca-Cola, and you derive the benefits from drinking that can of Coca-Cola. Gives you a sugar hit, it makes you feel good, it's tasty and delicious, it rots out the insides of your stomach and destroys your teeth. It's all great. Any case, the point is that all of those benefits are exclusive to you. you can exclude others from enjoying those benefits. The other characteristic of a private good is diminishability. That is, as more of a good there are more consumers seeking to purchase a good, it will diminish in quantity. Assuming, for example, we have a fixed quantity of the goods available, as more consumers utilize that good or consume that good, there's less available for others. The product diminishes as more and more consumers seek to utilize the product in question. However, there are other kinds of goods, and this is our point. There are other kinds of goods, non-private goods, that necessarily cause externalities. And these kinds of goods do not have the characteristics, both of these characteristics that here define a private good. So we've got diminishable and exclusive, that's a private good. But what about the case of a product or a good which is non-diminishable? That is, as more people consume it, it doesn't diminish in quantity. And at the same time, it's non-exclusive. That is, once the good comes into existence, then no one can be excluded from enjoying the benefits of it. That kind of good, which might seem a little bit magical to you, is called a public good. We'll see an example of that in a second and it'll be clearer. What if we take the case of exclusivity, like a private good? People can be excluded from enjoying the benefits of it, but as more people do consume it, who get access to it, it doesn't diminish in quantity. This is what we call a quasi-public good. And lucky last, we've got the case of a good which is diminishable. As more people utilize it, it decreases in quantity, but no one can be excluded from enjoying the benefits of it. This is what we would call a common good. Alright, so these are our abstract categories of private goods, common goods, quasi-public goods, and pure public goods. What's some examples? Put some meat on the bones here. Well, in the case of private goods, obviously we can think of things like cups of coffee, cars. These are private goods. A common good, remember, is it diminishes in quantity as more people utilize it, but it's non-exclusive. People can't be excluded from enjoying the benefits of it. So think of Bondi Beach. No one can be excluded from enjoying the benefits of Bondi Beach. It's a public beach. It's freely available to everyone, all citizens of Australia who are not in prison or in asylum, or who are not asylum seekers in detention camps. So it's non-exclusive. However, it is diminishable. As you add more people to Bondi Beach, there's less beach available for others to enjoy. And the same story for clean air. People can't be prevented from enjoying clean air, that is, breathing it in, but it does diminish as more people, or including firms, polluting firms, utilize it. The quantity of clean air diminishes. So this is the characteristics of common goods. What about quasi-public goods? So this is where we have goods which are exclusive. People can be prevented from enjoying the benefits of them, but they're non-diminishable. They don't decrease in quantity as more people use it. So think of, for example, downloads of something or other. And here we're talking about legal downloads, of course. No one would engage in illegal downloads in Australia. That would be just wrong. Very naughty. Anyway, so legal downloads are exclusive. That is, you can be excluded from downloading certain pieces of software. However, just because there are more downloads, say for example, more downloads of Microsoft Word, that doesn't somehow diminish the quantity of Microsoft Word software programs available. software programs just don't operate like that. They're just not of that nature. So there's potentially an infinite quantity of Microsoft Word software programs available. But you do have to pay to get access to them, so they are exclusive. Pay TV, same story. You can be excluded from enjoying the benefits of pay TV. You have to pay to get access to it. It's in the name. But it's non-diminishable. It doesn't matter how many people watch a world title bout on pay TV. It doesn't somehow diminish the quantity of picture available for the viewers. It's just not of that nature. It's non-diminishable. So in this case, we call it a quasi-public good. And lucky last, we've got pure public goods. So these are the most magical kind of goods. No one, if a good comes into existence, no one can be excluded from enjoying the benefits of it. And as more people use it, it doesn't diminish in quantity. It turns out it's a bit less magical than one might think. Street lights are a good example of a public good. No one can be prevented from enjoying the benefits of the street light. All you have to do is, at night, all you have to do is walk down the street, and as long as you've got eyes, you can enjoy the benefits of the street light. Now, and it's non-diminishable as well. It's not as if as more people enter the street and walk down the street, that somehow their eyes are gobbling up some of the light, so there's less light available for others. It's non-diminishable. The same story for national defence. As long as you're born within the borders of Australia, for example, you enjoy the benefits of national defence. You are not excluded from those benefits. It's also true, however, that just because, for example, another baby is born in Australia, that there's less national defence available for others. It's the same quantity of national defence as before. It's non-diminishable. So these are our categories and examples of non-private goods, so excluding this first cell here.